You stole my heart of gold after my silver soul. Can you dig any deeper now? I gave you all I own, put you on this golden throne, but I'm a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Tuesday night for the Full Send Racing Series. Season 5 has been a gem to watch as the drivers coming off of a wild race at Phoenix. They find themselves at Talladega for race number 13 of the regular season. We only got a couple of more races left before the playoffs begin, as tonight it's the Campbell Racing 215 at Talladega Super Speedway. Thank you for joining with us once again on your Tuesday night. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up in the booth is going to be Trevor Earhart. And Trevor, tonight's race, it's all about drafting, running with one another, and who can survive at the end of the race.
Yeah, the key to that's going to be the survival at Talladega, known for having the big wreck. The question is going to be, when is that big wreck going to happen? Who's going to be involved in it? And Sam, last time we were at a super speedway racing, a photo finish at the line. Will we see another one here tonight at Talladega?
It was so close. It went down to numbers we could not even imagine on who crossed the line first back at Daytona, but it was Tony Brent that topped the board on getting the victory, and he's topped the board during practice 28, as well as his teammates from Texas Speed are hoping that tonight could be the night that they can get another one of those drivers in a position to make the playoffs. Currently it's only Brent that's in a spot, but he's got some teammates that are just outside looking in, where if they get a win, they could be locking themselves into the playoffs, being Jonathan Burt, Tyler Thomas, 14th, 15th in points, hoping for a good day. But that was something we were talking about, Trevor, before we went live. The points. There is coming into tonight's race, if you get a win, and at the end of the regular season, you've raced 11 races, that win counts for you being locked into the playoffs. And there's a lot of drivers outside looking in that are eligible for that win in your in scenario.
Yeah, a lot of strong drivers outside of that window there. You got Cedric Hunter down there, Brandon Cawley, one start away from being eligible for the win and locked in. Brian Wilson, Ryan Lynch, Philip Chavez, all drivers that have had 10 to 12 starts this season that are outside that top 12, looking for a chance to get in. And here tonight at Talladega, the great equalizer in the draft, they have a chance to do it. Or if one of those guys up in front of them has a bad points night, gets involved in a wreck, could really swing this point standings going into the last couple of races before the playoffs.
13 races in total is the number that is circled for the drivers, and 11 starts are the drivers that we're looking at. Hey, if you have 11 starts now, counting from tonight's race moving forward, you should have enough starts to make it to the end of the race. We've got Las Vegas and Richmond after this for the field. The drivers are on track for qualifying. They're starting their first lap. For some, they're about to finish their first lap, and they've got 2 laps in total to put down their fastest time in a 5-minute window. So drivers are already noticing, hey, we got to giddy up and go, because just driving by yourself is not the fastest lap. It's going to be around 53 seconds that some of these drivers are going to put down for themselves for a single lap. Might be a little bit slower than that, but Trevor, certainly trying to find speed by yourself on a track that's this large, for some, it's actually a pretty important skill to have.
Yeah, super speedway qualifying is really interesting. You'll see different kind of strategies of people, what they want to do. You'll see some guys like Brandon Cawley right here running the wall all the way around on his first lap, trying to build up as much momentum as he can for his second lap. Other guys electing to use the first lap as their fast lap and stay at the bottom. So it's kind of an art form on who can really do it the best. But thankfully, it's super speedway racing qualifying, not the most important thing. But I think a lot of these guys are going to want to start by their teammates so they can have some form of help when the race starts.
Yeah, that can also, drivers also having the tactic of trying to just go extremely slow, protect the tires, get a little bit of heat in their tires, and set up for a strong run. Right now, it's the 4-time winner this season of Brian McCann, who's topped the board with a 54.335 second time. Sam Siegel's going to be bouncing up to second. But Brandon Cawley, a driver that was actually inside of our top 12 in points heading into last week's race, missed Phoenix, and now outside by a pretty big margin. Just missing one race could be so great. And for this 99 machine tonight, could be a big rebound that you're looking for. But the team aspect's going to be something to watch out as a whole. Now, last season, we had Freaky Fast Racing kind of being the fastest team working together, but they weren't the ultimate driver to win at the course. I'm curious to see what teams are going to really work their best, as Cawley has free game all the way down there on the apron, trying to minimize as much ground and shorten the distance, and it wasn't enough for the pole. It's Travis Dart who's got the pole currently.
Yeah, Dart with the pole time. Brandon Cawley, though, with that interesting line there, goes second quickest, but that gets quickly taken by Alex Jones. Ken Campbell, second and third fastest for themselves. Andrew Medlin halfway down the back straight away on his lap here, going into 3 and 4. And the key to this is being as smooth as you can in the corners, not putting a lot of wheel input into the race car, keeping, trying not to scrub as much speed as you can. You see the little bit of movement that he's having to put into that wheel, scrubbing a little bit of time, but Medlin looking pretty good here off turn number 4.
Andrew Medlin, who's found himself getting the pole here at Talladega 2 out of the 4 races in the past. Travis Dart's gotten it once in the past. The 12, can he make it 3 out of 5 races with the pole as he crosses the line? Hoping it's enough. 22nd position on his first lap and top of the board on his second. Medlin showing why he is so good at qualifying here at Talladega with over 22 thousandths of a second over Travis Dart. An incredible time by the 12 machine. Alex Jones also with a quick time into third. There's only just a couple of drivers that maybe have an opportunity to even try to attempt that type of a time, but it looks like Medlin might have this one in the books.
Yeah, all smiles there on the driver cam from Andrew Medlin after that time gets across the board. And you think back to this race last season, Sam, we didn't get to cover it due to some technical issues, but Medlin in a position to lock himself into the playoffs, and gets involved in an unfortunate incident on the last lap that took him out of contention here tonight, comes in into tonight 13th in points, looking for that chance to redeem himself, lock himself in. And what a better way to try to start the night off by doing that than being on the pole.
Strong way to start the night off for the 12 machine, as the field, they're done with practice. We're done with qualifying. It's time for 81 laps to be ran here at Talladega, as the drivers also have a stage break at the end of lap 20. No fast repairs, 4 extra sets of tires in pit road. And let's see where the field is starting here this evening for the Campbell Racing 215. It's going to be Andrew Medlin in the 12 machine taking the pole award. Travis Dart going to be taking second on the outside row, with Alex Jones in third. Fourth goes to Ken Campbell. Christopher Norris fifth. Zach Hall sixth for himself. Already all of Freaky Fast Racing going to be in the top 6, with Brandon Colley in 7th. John Dart 8th. 9th goes to Brian McCann, and finishing on our top 10, it's Ross Tatum in the 21 machine.
Will Bustler will be in 11th with Chris Stitz in 12th. Christopher Wade in the 53 will be in 13th with Sam Siegel in 14th. Joshua Altus will start in 15th with Trey Jackson filling in for that of Cameron Sarton all the way down there in 16th position. Brian Wilson will be in 17th. Tony Brent, the Daytona winner, in 18th. Jacob Grant 19th, and David McConnell will be in 20th.
21st, it's Steve Bustler in the 00 machine, with Jonathan Burt in the 6th. A driver for a note to watch out for in 22nd. 23rd is going to be Tyler Thomas, with Doug Pierce in 24th position. Doug Pierce is going to be his last race of the season, as going to have to step away for medical reasons for that 39 machine. We hope that for Doug moving forward, his health does get better. Jay Beckert going to be starting in 25th position, with Cole Sacchetti back in the driver's seat. Good to see the 42 back out there on track, starting in 26th. 27th is Ryan Lynch, with Christopher Melton in 28th position for the 93 machine. William Duff in 29th. 30th will be Curtis Valechka in the 44, with Harrison Gerwitz as well as Peter Dillon finishing out our 32 drivers racing here tonight. A lot of machines. There's plenty of space at the 2.66 mile course as the drivers start to travel forward. There is one driver I'm curious about on what their thoughts are coming into tonight's race, coming from the Texas Speed Sim Racing team. That's Jonathan Burt, coming from a fast team that's already gotten into victory lane. I'm curious on what the sixth mentality is going to be moving forward into tonight's race, starting all the way back in the middle of the field in 22nd position. Let's see if Jonathan Burt can cue him up. 6th machine, Jonathan Burt, it's Sam and Trevor up at the booth. You got us?
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going pretty good there. I'm just curious, Jonathan, how are you feeling coming into tonight? We know it's a wild card race at Talladega. There's a lot of pressure on getting into victory lane. We know your team can be fast. What's the confidence level for yourself?
It's super high. I love how my team came out with our Talladega night paint schemes. We're super excited. We're gonna try to get me, Tyler, or David into the playoffs here. So we're gonna work together. We're starting a little back. That's normal for us. We're used to hanging out in the back, but we'll make our way up.
I mean, Jonathan, is that going to be the strategy tonight? Just hang out in the back, let the chaos unfold, or do you want to get up to the front and get some stage points to kind of help solidify y'all in points?
We were talking about that because I'm super close on points. I'm only about 16 out right now, but I think I'm gonna hang back with my team and then go for that win at the end.
I like the call, Jonathan. We'll send you back to your team, but good luck here tonight. Hopefully we'll be talking at the end of the night.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That'll be the 6th machine from Texas Speed Sim Racing of Jonathan Burt. Again, starting deep in the field, back in 22nd position, but he's got a lot of friendly names around him with his teammates back there going to be trying to work as a whole. But up front, it's Andrew Medlin in the 12 machine, Travis Dart in the 26 as the pace cars about to pull off. We've got ourselves 81 laps to complete, but our stage break here this evening will be at the end of lap 20. So the driver's going to have a quick sprint. Who's going to be aggressive in the early going, or do you stay patient, as those bonus points are going to be crucial once the night is over, as the drivers get themselves prepared to enter the restart zone. The Campbell Racing 215 is underway as our front two drivers, Travis Dart, Andrew Medlin, are roaring down into turn number 1.
That's going to be side by side with those two. Not a lot of help from Ken Campbell right now to Medlin, but Campbell finally gets to the rear bumper. Alex Jones with the rear bumper in the 26 and Travis Dart as those top four try to figure out who's going to get the momentum out of through turn 1, out of turn number 2, down the long back straightaway. Christopher Norris going to be the third car on that bottom line side by side with his teammate. Question is going to be, will he jump up, try to help out the freaky fast guys? John Dart's there in the 5, but that outside line prevailing halfway down the back straightaway.
Already one driver going to duck down into the apron. That's going to be Brian L. Wilson, who's just trying to get out of the way. Got a good qualifying time. He got his pit stall that he wanted, but now let's just settle in the back and get prepared up front. Andrew Medlin leading that outside groove with Ken Campbell. Campbell, known for being a very strong super speedway driver. Medlin, he's known for being up front throughout most of the race, but can he survive to the end, where it's been a lot of the unfortunes striking this 12 machine? But Travis Dart on the other foot, he wants a win as well. This 26 has been looking strong for most of this season.
And Travis has been looking really good throughout the course of the season. The question is going to be, can he survive the chaos that probably will happen tonight? Can the freaky fast team survive the chaos? A team that's known to be up front for a majority of the race, hard to get by, but then seems to fall apart toward the end. Will they be able to hold on and finally get a good finish for all 4 cars tonight? But no separation between basically our top 20 cars as they head down the back straightaway.
It's something we don't talk about very often in the beginning portions, but watch out for the engine temps. These drivers have a little bit of space for their grill right in front of those vehicles, and if you're running directly in front of someone else, kind of bump tracking them, giving a tap, that's not giving any airflow to that front grill, and those engine temps are going to climb. And at some point, if you're not careful, you can lose an engine just as quickly as you got yourself up front. Slight wiggle of drivers further on back on the inside row, but already first 2 laps in the book, and both of them led by the 12 of Andrew Medlin.
And doing what he needs to do, trying to control that outside line, keep the 26 pinched down there, don't let him get a lot of momentum off the corner, use that side draft to his advantage. A couple cars being really aggressive there on the start was the 19 of Jacob Grant, the 94 of Joshua Altus. They went 3 wide up through the middle. Jacob Grant going to try to go 3 wide again as he moves the 5 of John Dart up out of the way. Here comes the 21 for some help. And some early aggression from this 19 machine, trying to shove the nose to the inside of Zach Hall and go 3 wide again.
Jacob Grant is just moving drivers left, right, and center to get himself closer to that lead position. He's got Ross Tatum right behind him. 2 drivers that have raced with one another in plenty of different leagues throughout the history of their iRacing career, and now finding themselves marching forward as a whole, because you've got Jacob Grant, Ross Tatum, Joshua Altus, and Will Bustler just marching the middle lane. And now we got to pick and choose. Do we stay in the middle, bounce into that 3rd lane? There's plenty of space to go 3 wide. Do you want to risk going 3 wide this early on, as we're only on lap 4? Again, stage break at the end of lap 20. Top 10 drivers get bonus points. You want to be up front if you're one of the drivers outside of our top 12. Just searching for any type of bonus points and points in general, as we only got 2 more races left in the regular season after this.
Yeah, they say the safest place to be in a super speedway race is to be at the front or the very back of the pack, or very back, just to avoid any kind of big wreck. But with how aggressive these guys have been, I don't know if there's a safe spot to really be. Jacob Grant's really been, the aggressor working his way up through the field, but now kind of settled in that 3rd position on that outside line behind Ken Campbell. Really kind of disrupted the freaky fast team, though. Separated Zach Hall out of there. Christopher Norris still stuck on the bottom, and now Jacob Grant trying to see if he can get any sort of momentum here out of turn number 1 and 2 to maybe shove it 3 wide if Ken Campbell leaves the door open.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of searching on where you want to go. Is right on board with the Super 53, gonna be that of Christopher Wade. See Travis Dart duck to the apron. Maybe not feeling comfortable being that lead driver, and he's going to lose a lot of spots. But again, he's got to be careful trying to slot himself back in with the field. He will do so safely, but another driver to watch out for is this 53 that we're right on board, Christopher Wade, known for being a very strong super speedway driver, such as Ken Campbell. Those two actually were a dynamic duo for the longest time in our Thursday series that we cover, the Stars and Stripes, where both drivers moved along. And, one of those things where curious on how we're going to see these drivers try to react coming into tonight's race. Do you search for alliances that you previously knew, or do you stick with new alliances that maybe have been made?
That's going to play out throughout the course of the race. I mean, a lot of these guys race together for a long time in various leagues. They know how each other works. And then you have the team alliances. So, I mean, we could see multiple teams working with one another as drivers are comfortable with one another. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to who's on your bumper, who's in front of you. That I think is really going to be the important part is Jacob Grant. Here he goes, shoving it out to the outside, trying to look for a little bit of space to get around 15 to King Campbell. Just doesn't have enough help out the back end from the 21 of Ross Stadium and has to tuck back in line.
That's a tuck back in line, but it's going to be okay because I think they're just trying to build momentum up to make the move. There's 4 drivers, like I said, to watch out for. That's going to be the 19 of Jacob Grant, who bounces it 3 wide. He's got Ross Tatum as well as Joshua Altus going to be working together, leaving Andrew Medlin and Ken Campbell as the lone drivers as they're slowly getting some help from the 1 and the 10. And the group becoming 3 wide. 4 rows going to be 3 wide here. And you got to be careful of not causing any issues. You see that outside lane really pinching against one another. And they exit the corner. Drivers are getting mixy and a lot, deciding it's not safe. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, lap 7, 3 wide racing. You just saw the 8 of Brian McCann drop out. The 99 of Brandon Colley drops out. Ken Campbell, Andrew Medlin to the bottom. Kind of 2 wide now. It's going to be the 1 of Will Bustler back there to the inside of the 21 of Ross Tatum. That's going to be the first 3 wide action. But a lot of these guys feeling like, hey, we're 3 wide. Lap 7, I don't feel safe with this. We're going to drop out of this. And right now that outside line, both outside lines really dying off. 3 cars now in each line as the inside line starting to prevail.
And just as quickly as you can, show you've got a very strong vehicle, either pushing a driver, leading a lane, you can cause a bad reputation of maybe moving, pinching a lane a little bit too aggressively at times. And I think a lot of drivers realize, okay, we are starting to pinch, we're starting to get aggressive. Well, I don't like this, let's get out of here, as that middle lane that is now turned into the outside groove for our leaders, being led by Andrew Medlin, still with Ken Campbell, and now they'll have Christopher Norris in the 3rd in that middle lane. Zach Hall has just been lost from this teamwork, but Alex Jones, ever since Travis Stark kind of backed away, 45's done a great job leading that inside groove.
Yeah, got help from the 53 there, Christopher Wade, the 00 of Steve Bustler, as well as the 11 of Tyler Thomas. He's worked his way up there just inside the top 10, so that inside line's got a lot of help on that bottom groove. But I mean, they've got to get by that top line. The 3 freaky fast cars with Zach Hall not too far behind them, is now he's behind the 10 of Jay Becker. So almost all 4 freaky fast cars lined up nose to tail with one another. And I got to say, Sam, that's going to be a hard combination to pass, but that inside line doing everything they can with Christopher Wade trying to push the 45.
Yeah, I mean, seeing where you can place yourself to get by each driver if possible. And for the 45 machine of Alex Jones, he's done a great job just staying low, but the middle groove just looking too strong. A couple of drivers starting to back out of this madness as it's starting to mount up and look a little bit more aggressive. As what's crazy to say, we're already about halfway through this stage as the drivers about to come across the line. After the trioval, they'll create and start lap number 10, as we'll have our stage break at the end of lap 20. In Talladega, looking at the past, not a track that's known for bringing out a lot of cautions, but certainly whenever a caution does come out, we always know it's going to be a big one occurring at some point. The drivers all know with no fast repair, one small mistake could be the end of your night in just a blink of an eye.
Yeah, all it takes is that one small mistake. These Xfinity cars not the most stable when you're getting bumped by the car behind you. The next gen Cup cars, the trucks, really kind of sturdy when it comes to taking bumps from one another. These cars get a little squirrely when they receive a big push, so these drivers have to be careful of that. That one mistake could lead to the big wreck that could take out half the field. But right now, with the 3 wide race and the aggression we've seen, I got to say everybody's doing a really good job, and it starts to look like that outside line's finally died off, and we're back to two wide racing.
Back to 2 wide. It's going to be Will Bustler trying to slot himself to the inside groove expectedly, but he's all back mired in 11th position. 11 laps going to be starting here as we officially have marked the halfway of this stage. As our top 2 drivers, Alex Jones, Andrew Medlin, the top 2 drivers so far, and trying to stay in that position. As for Andrew Medlin in the 12 machine, the only driver in the Talladega's history, as Talladega has been ran in every season for the Full Send Racing Series. The 12, only driver to get the pole, lead the most laps, and win. He did it back in season 2. He's going to try to do it here in season 5, as he's got Alex Jones trying to put the pressure to try to lead the most laps for himself up front.
I mean, these two just been going back and forth just about who has the better push at turn number 4 down through the tri-oval. It's really kind of setting it up to who gets to lead what lap. It looks like this time it might be the 12 of Andrew Medlin. Here comes a little bit of momentum from the 45. But Medlin's going to lead that lap, so another lap led for him. As we get closer and closer to that stage break, and I'm wondering, Sam, as we get closer to that stage break, will we see some aggressive moves from guys further in the back of the field, like a Brandon Colley that's on the tail end of this lead pack? Try to get some of those stage points as he needs some to get closer to the top 12, or where will we see guys just kind of take what positions they have and move on to race after the stage break?
Well, I can inform you that most of Texas Speed have decided on the let's just stay in the back and calm down and wait until after the stage is done before they start making any moves. Other drivers seem to be thinking, hey, maybe we should start getting aggressive. But most of those drivers that wanted to get aggressive are already inside of our top 10. I mean, Jacob Grant, Tyler Thomas, Jay Beckert, and Steven Bustler have just been so aggressive, both. I mean, all 3 of 4 of those drivers are up 13 plus positions from where they started, showing out, hey, even where you start doesn't mean that's where you're going to finish, like other tracks that we see here on the schedule. Super Speedway racing, that's so different racing aspect of, doesn't matter if you're in the back or up front, anyone has a chance to win here at Talladega.
That's the great thing about Talladega, the great equalizer when it comes to the super speedway racing. Anybody and everybody has a shot at winning. It doesn't matter where you started. As long as you have the draft and somebody to push you, there's a chance that you're going to get a pretty good finish out of this. And I got to say, the only Texas speed car that really hasn't stuck to the plan, that 11 of Tyler Thomas on the inside line, 4th car on the bottom, doing a really good job just by himself up there. Finally gets caught up to that inside line, has a little bit of help from the 94 of Joshua Altus behind him, but he's snuck up here and fighting for maybe a top 5 here at the stage.
Yeah, and if you were just joining us, you missed a talking with Jonathan Burt right before we went green. All of Texas Speed racing a different Talladega night scheme. The 11 of Tyler Thomas going with the Wonder Bread scheme for himself. And I think that's fun when you see drivers go to certain tracks and they're able to bring out some fun schemes that they want to bring out. Majority of the field, you might be also seeing some pink on some of these cars. For it being October, that is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and to show support, pink is the color of a pink ribbon, and you can see that bright one on the outside. That's Christopher Norris, but there's also a handful of other vehicles that are rocking some pink for support of breast cancer awareness.
Yeah, it's always good to see. We saw a lot of it last week in Martinsville, or last week at Phoenix, with the pink and the breast cancer awareness. You've seen it transition over to this week, and then the fun of the Texas Speed guys coming out with the 4 iconic cars from Talladega Nights. We saw it in real life at the Talladega race. Going to see it here in the sim world as well. So that's always fun to see, and it's always fun to see the different paint schemes week in and week out that just kind of make you reminisce about movies or old races and stuff like that. But that third line trying to get started up again here, Sam, with the 21 of Ross Tatum, the 5 of John Dart. Will anybody go up there to help those 2 cars? They got a pretty decent run here down the back straightaway.
They got a decent run, but it's only the 2 of them. No one else is really attached to that third lane, and that means they're going to lose momentum. They can get a few positions. They'll start to fade back if they don't get more help. Otherwise, for John Dart, he can push as much as he wants, but that engine's going to give up at a time where he's got to back off, conserve his energy, and not just blow his engine before our stage is over. Stage again at the end of lap 20 as we are coming up to 5 laps to go, and we're in that zone where if a yellow flag comes out, that could be the end of the stage if these drivers aren't careful.
Could be. And another thing we didn't touch on, we had some issues at Daytona with cars spinning that should have been a caution, wasn't a caution this week. Steve Benjamin, Race Control, has the ability to throw a caution if need be, if it's deemed necessary. So we do have that extra little bit of ability to have a caution if we have cars going all over the racetrack and iRacing doesn't deem it to be a caution. So that is a possibility here tonight. But right now, 3-wide racing really starting to ramp up. Will Bustler's gone up to help that outside line. Can they get a 4th car, which I think they're going to need to really mount any charge here up to the 12 or the 45.
And I think they got a couple of drivers that might move up to that third lane and work with them. Watch out for Jacob Grant and Joshua Altus to move to that third lane. Otherwise, they're just going to settle to the bottom and see where those cars are going to lie as they go through the tri-oval, across the line, informed, hey, next 2 laps, once the leader crosses the line, pit road will be closed. So if you want to do an early pit stop, you can do so, but the only drivers that really can afford to make a pit stop, they want to get track position, would be pitting now when you're not being this lead pack. But I'm not expecting anyone to try that choice of doing an early pit stop when there is always a chance to try to grab some bonus points right now.
No, I don't think you're going to see anybody jump out of this lead pack to make a pit stop. I think everybody's going to get to the stage break, come down, get fuel, and then we might see it kind of turn into a fuel mileage race to get to that magic number to make it to the end, but we'll have to wait and see. But right now, Alex Jones at 45 trying to mount a charge to maybe steal this stage away from the 12 of Andrew Medlin. As actually Jacob Grant, the 19, he's going to pull off with the 94 of Joshua Altus. They're going to come down pit road.
Jacob Grant also having issues. He's sped on entry. He's going to have a black flag holding penalty, and he's going to go a lap down because of that decision.
That tough break for the 19 machine. He was so aggressive, got up there to the front, but now going to have that speeding penalty. But thankfully for him, should be the only car one lap down unless they're able to lap the 94 of Joshua Altus. So at the stage break, we'll be able to get that lucky dog for himself, but just a huge mistake there from that 19 machine coming to pit road.
An odd gamble. I feel like if you were going to make that gamble, you had to bring in more than just 2 drivers, at least 4 or 5. If you were hoping to stay in front of this lead pack, you're most likely going to go a lap down if you're by yourself. But Joshua Altus just topping off on fuel, taking 2 sides for tires, and he'll be rolling for himself. But the rest of the field, full song and ready to be told. 2 laps to go before the stage is done. Only the top 10 drivers get bonus points. And based off where the drivers are running, that 10th place position would go to Tyler Thomas on the inside row, but it's been bouncing back and forth between the 3 wide of the 11, the 32, and the 21. Everyone else in front are inside of our top 10 comfortably.
Yeah, everybody inside the top 10 comfortably. It's it's kind of that 3 wide on back, and they're going to have to deal with the lap car of the 94 of Joshua Altus in the next, probably half a lap or so, 3/4 of a lap, as he's all by himself, just now going through 3 and 4, the lead pack entering turn number 3. So they're going to have to navigate some lap traffic here before the end of the stage, and this could cause chaos for these guys if they get to really be in 3 wide. It could almost be 4 wide as they go by that 94 machine when they catch up to him. So we'll have to wait and see how that's going to play out. But right now, Alex Jones trying to hang on here, get a little bit more help from the 53, the 00, and the 11 to try to get out in front of the 12 of Andrew Medlin. But Medlin with a lot of help from Ken Campbell and Christopher Norris doing a great job controlling the race so far.
The time's going to be close if that Joshua Altus can stay on the lead lap by himself. But the drivers up front, Andrew Medlin leads the way. Ken Campbell going to be in second, the middle row looking strong. But Alex Jones hoping for just a slight push from Christopher Wade. But Ross Tatum, Zach Hall marching on that outside row, trying to steal any positions they can and maybe even maximize on their points, as that 3rd lane just got a huge run on the backstretch.
Got a great run, and that of Zach Hall going to try to go up there, upset his teammate through 3 and 4, 3 wide. He's back there with the 3rd side by side with his teammate Christopher Norris. That losing a little bit of momentum though. Can they get it back here off of turn number 4, coming down through the tri-oval? Doesn't look like it. They're going to have to kind of settle for where they are. And it's going to be a battle between the 12 and the 45 to see who's going to get this stage win.
And Andrew Medlin needing bonus points, and he'll get them. Cross the line. Winner of our stage here for the Campbell Racing 215. Give it to the 12 machine of Andrew Medlin, as the rest of the field lineup going to be Andrew Medlin, Ken Campbell, Alex Jones, Christopher Norris, Christopher Wade, Zach Hall, Jay Beckard going to be your top 6. Then also Ross Tatum, Stephen Benjamin, and Brandon Colley going to be your last of the top 10 that crossed the line. Might be a little bit of shuffling before the drivers enter pit road, but what a charge for this field, as everyone's going to slow down, try to wait for the pace car. And as they're doing that, actually, I think it might give us time to go to a quick commercial break for ourselves up in the booth. As you're watching the Full Send Racing Series, they're in race number 13 of Season 5. It's been a good one here at Talladega, as you're watching the Campbell Racing 115 here at Talladega. We will be back right after this. We'll also try to interview our stage winner, Andrew Medlin. We'll be back in just a few. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Full Send Racing Series. As it's race 13, the Campbell Racing 215 at Talladega has gotten to our stage. And hey, let's try to queue up our stage winner and see how they're feeling after those first 20 laps of the race. Andrew Medlin, it's Sam and Trevor up the booth. You got us?
Got a copy, boys.
Well, Andrew, you find yourself winning the stage and getting those bonus points. It's so crucial on where you're at. Man, how are you feeling? How's the car feeling after those first 20 laps?
It is. I mean, it was nice to see a lot of patience executed there from everyone really in that first stage. Obviously, the stage win doesn't really get you the big win. That's what we're here for. 13 points behind the cut line, and yeah, just trying to hopefully bring it home in one piece. If I can somehow get lucky enough to win, that'll be great. But there's probably, 30 other drivers here that have just as good of an opportunity. So we'll see if we can keep it close, keep the nose clean here for the second stage.
Now, Andrew, I'm curious. You guys, you Campbell and Norris were all running that second line. Is it a preference to be up there on the outside line, or is it just kind of you guys went where there was clean air and were able to hold on to it?
Yeah, we really liked how that second line was running at the beginning of the race. As you saw at the start, I elected to start on the outside just because I had the teammates out there. We wanted to try it out. It was working good, and I think I led most, if not all the laps in that first stage. So gave us room. We didn't need to worry about getting down to pit under green or anything like that. So we stuck there, but we'll see. The race is going to be totally different now that we're done with the stage cautions.
Well, Andrew, again, congratulations on winning this stage, and good luck for the rest of this run, and hopefully we'll be talking to you at the end of the night.
Yep, appreciate it, boys. I hope so, too. We'll see if we can pull that off.
Well, that'll be the 12 machine of Andrew Medlin from Freaky Fast Racing. He'll be starting in third place on this restart on the inside row, but he's going to have his team of Ken Campbell to the outer groove. We'll see how these drivers want to align one another, but hey, Trevor, it seemed like the confidence was still pretty high, but nerves are there for Medlin.
Yeah, you definitely tell the nerves are there. I mean, he know all about it. It was so close last season. Has a really strong car this season, so we'll see if he can be able to hang on and get that good finish that he wants. But I mean, he's got great teammates behind him, but now it's about getting lined up. And they lost one teammate, Norris, with a pit speeding exit. He's going to go all the way to the back of the field, so now it's going to be 3 of those Freaky Fast cars up front as Joshua Altus is going to lead us back to green.
Altus is ready to take us to the green. Jacob Grant did get the lucky dog. He'll be at the end of the line. All 32 drivers are back on the lead lap. No more stage racing. It's all about who's going to get the win this evening as we're back to green flag action for the Campbell Racing 215. It's Altus, Alex Jones, both heading down into turn number 1.
Down into turn number 1 they go, and it's going to be who can get to whose bumper the quickest to give that line a shove. Right now it's Campbell's back bumper of the 45. A little bit quicker than Medlin can get to the rear bumper of the 94 of Joshua Altus. This should allow the 45 of Alex Jones to get out to the lead and give him choice if he wants to go to the bottom or if he wants to stay up top. Or will Campbell just shove the 45 out front and drop down in front of the 94? We'll have to wait and see, but halfway down the back straightaway, the outside line's looking really strong.
And already seeing one driver bounce to the third lane. Ross Tatum hoping to find maybe a little bit of help and assistance. No one looks to be there just yet as Will Bustler is going to choose slot behind. But up front, it's Alex Jones, Ken Campbell, Zach Hall, Brandon Colley. That's a trio to watch out for. And also adding this the fourth, it's Brian McCann. That is a strong 4-core on the outside. Joshua Altus, bad bump, wiggling, and the 94 holds on.
Got a bump there from Andrew Medlin, caught the apron as well, but does a great job hanging onto it. But you can see how much momentum it costs that inside line. As the top 3 clear, it's going to be Brian McCann in 4th place. It's going to be side by side with Alex Jones, and those 3 now have lane choice. Will Colley jump down in front of the 45, maybe get a little bit of help to see if he can get by the 32 and the 15. But luck knows the tail is going to be Zach Hall and Ken Campbell down the back straightaway.
That trio of Campbell, Hall, Colley, they look strong as we're right on board with Brian McCann. You also see his hands. They are working with this direct drive wheel, force feedback. We've notified it before. Very strong as a force feedback. There are bumps that you have to worry about and feeling the sensation of, the force that's building in your hands. Man, is this 8 machine. He's got to wheel it through the tri-oval as the 94 once again just does not look comfortable through the tri-oval, and it could be a choice on the fact that of how old those tires are and the fact that he went with 2 tires under his green flag stop that he had right before the stage ended.
Yeah, it could be that. Could upset the balance of that 94 machine. But the last 2 times through the tri-oval, like you noted, has not looked comfortable. McCann, you can see there a little bit of wheel adjustments. And these cars, I mean, really, you got to deal with the bumps. You got to deal with the aero sensitive when you're close to somebody, when somebody gets on your bumper. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into super speedway racing that these drivers have to be aware of. with these cars and with that direct drive wheel. A lot of input that he's having to put through that wheel, even on a track like this, where you wouldn't think that wheel input's a big deal.
No, I mean, wheel input you don't think is a big deal, and a lot in the past we'd always say tire wear also isn't a factor to talk about, but there was a lot of choices that were made under the pit stops. You got half the field deciding to go with 4 tires, the other half splitting on just taking 2 tires for themselves or no tires. A lot of split decisions, and it's the drivers that decided to take 4 that are up front looking very smooth for themselves currently.
Yeah, looking really smooth, but Sam, I just spotted somebody going 3 wide. There's the 19 of Alex Jones, not wasting any time getting back up to the front of the field. And he's got a little bit of help from the 11 of Tyler Thomas, being the one outlier from Texas Speed that wants to get up here to the front of the field, along with the 38 of Christopher Norris recovering from his penalties. So guys being aggressive here on the start of this race, not wanting to lay back, wanting to get up and try to get some of this track position back.
Also a little bit of a scare on the backstretch. Josh Aldis looked like he was going to show the signal he was going to go backwards. Instead, fought to get his position back and being pushed down to the apron at 94. Again, second car on the inside. He is hurting their momentum. It looks like Zach Hull and Ken Campbell, they're getting back to where they feel the most comfortable. That middle groove as Cauley tries to lead the outside lane. Jacob Brandt, he is willing to make some moves and get people out of the way, but it's going to be more difficult when you're trapped 3 wide and you're on the outside.
Track 3 wide on the outside. We'll see how good of a pusher the 19 is. He's done a great job leading some lines, but we'll see if he can help get this 99 machine, up to the front. And this is where you got to be really careful. Out of the corners, if you lay a bumper to somebody at the wrong time, it can really upset the race car. The car gets really light out of the corner of turn number 2, out of turn number 4 as it unloads. So these guys have to be aware of that. But right now, 19 Jacob Grant doing a great job as we're 3 wide from about first all the way back to about 15th.
Yeah, it is 3 wide all the way through. We saw the patience of drivers not making the choice of going 3 wide very often. There were just, a couple of drivers that were willing to take that opportunity. It looks like now it is go, go, go. Get up front as quickly as you can. The middle groove looks to be smooth, but everyone showing some pace and also trying to give each other as much space as possible. This is the fastest, you could say, freeway out there, as you got your 3 distinctive lines. Those dotted lines are really going to assist for some on where you want to place yourself, but for other drivers, they like to merge over into lanes, try to cause some more spacing, maybe give some airflow to the driver behind, or it's to cause a little panic to the drivers to your inside or outside based on how you run these corners. And Trevor, I mean, the claustrophobic feeling that the drivers are stuck in the middle, that is not a comfortable feeling to be in.
No, it's you basically go from being semi-relaxed to white knuckle driving when you're stuck 3 wide in the middle, because you never know what's going to happen. Will the car to the outside of you get a little bit of a bad push? Will he get loose and come down? Will the car to your inside drift up a little bit, get into you? It's never a fun feeling to be stuck 3 wide. And right now, having said that, the outside line kind of died off, but just like that, here comes the 21 of Ross Tatum and Will Bustler. They're going to retake over that top spot and go 3 wide racing as they head out of turn number 2.
We're getting to see both of our driver cams. Andrew Medlin on top, Brian McCann on the bottom, and both drivers pretty close to one another in proximity. As you see that of Andrew Medlin in the 12. He's on the inside on track, top of on our driver cam, and stuck in the middle, watching drivers deking back and forth in his mirror. It's Brian McCann, who has got Christopher Norris on that back bumper, but they really have nowhere to go. It's more of just sit and wait, try to build momentum up and assist the drivers that are in front of you. You got to be patient, not give a bad bump when you're that 3rd, 4th driver in line.
Yeah, you don't want to bump. You can't push the pusher, as they say. It's the last thing you want to do, because it can really upset the guys in front of you and cause issues. Campbell thought about maybe going up and blocking the 21 of Ross Tatum. And here's another thing we haven't touched on. Super speedway racing, one of those things that can turn into a fuel mileage race. And for these guys like Alex Jones, Ken Campbell, Ross Tatum, and the 21, I mean, you're leading a line, you're cutting through that air. Really hurts your fuel mileage compared to guys like Andrew Medlin, Brian McCann, Christopher Norris, who are all in the draft, not having to run full throttle. So these guys out front not going to be able to run as many laps as, say, the guys back in the pack that are in the draft.
Yeah, and if you're just joining with us, racing isn't something that you're used to watching all the time. The term draft is when you have the car right in front of you and you're following them directly, and you're having the airflow go over top, and it allows you to, the closer you are to the driver in front of you, the less dirty air and less kind of friction that's dealing with you, and it allows you to drive a little bit faster because you don't have that drag effect on. And as more drivers in line, usually that means you're going to be going the fastest. So drivers are putting on a show in that middle groove, inside lane, trying to keep the momentum up, but that spacing between each driver is also not helping with the draft.
No, not helping at all. I mean, side drafting is a thing, and that's when you just get as close as you can to the car to the inside of you, try to take some air off of them, slow them down, and pull them back. Norris now going to the outside line to jump in front of the 21 of Ken Campbell. He's trying to get up, or I'm sorry, the 21 of Ross Tatum. He's trying to get up there and get with his teammates to see if he can maybe drop in front of the 8 of Brian McCann. But that outside line, that third groove, they get up to about that third car on that outside line. We've seen them get all the way up to the lead, and then they just fall back as people bail out of it. So I'm questioning this call by Norris, but if he can get a good enough push, might be able to drop in front of that gap.
Yeah, I'm trying to find any position, and if that gap can be made, to just get a little bit closer, stay with your teammates, as I'm starting to see that whole entire outside lane is falling apart. But as more drivers fall to the inside groove, that's usually a sign that we expect pit stops to be happening at any moment. But drivers and fuel pit stops is going to be the interesting call. Like we said before, there are times that this race could turn into a fuel mileage run, and if drivers are being a little bit more patient, trying to save fuel, usually you don't want to be these lead drivers, as you've got the teammate of Christopher Norris from Freaky Fast Racing leading the outside lane, Ken Campbell leading the inside groove. At the bottom, still led by Alex Jones, and Jones has continued to stay up front majority of this run.
Yeah, been up front basically since the drop of the green flag. Was able to get up there and kind of lead the inside line all the way through the stage break. Now leading it again here, the first 12 laps post the stage break. So doing a really good job controlling that inside line. And they have a little bit more momentum on the inside compared to the outside line. It's kind of the reverse of what we saw in the first 20 laps. The outside line being the most dominant. I think that's just because of all the shuffling we've seen with the guys going 3 wide. To the top of the racetracks, really kind of killed that middle lane's momentum.
Middle lane's trying to find that comfortability. Where do you want to be? As currently biggest mover of the race, is drivers in the middle of the field. Going to be Ryan Lynch in the 3 Machine K Records up 13 places, same for Tyler Thomas. And drivers are inside our top 5. It's Joshua Altis that is up front with his strategy call of pitting before the stage. Well, as the drivers are in a little bit, 3 wide isn't calm, but trying to stay as calm as they can. We have some sponsors that we do have to shout out and say thank you to for the Full Send Racing Series. Starting things off with ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. ButtKicker is where you go to get your gamer too. Instead of just hearing the sounds, why not feel the sounds? Get more immersed with your ButtKicker today. Go over to ButtKicker.com. Go see if you want to get a ButtKicker. And what do you need to attach that ButtKicker to? Well, that's when you go over to our next sponsor, being Next Level Racing. Next Level Racing is your racing rig to make sure that you're prepared for the next level of your racing career. Sim racing is something that continues to grow, and having a racing rig just helps you once again immerse yourself and get into a better, comfortable racing position to put on your next level of racing action. Go check out their budgeted items and more expensive items, as well as a great purchase to grab. It's the Sim Studios button box. Go over to the Etsy for the Sim Studios on Instagram as well as on Facebook and Etsy. Go purchase your button box today. It helps as a driver, helps as an admin. Getting your button box will help you moving forward. And the last major sponsor being from the 77 crew of Will Bus, being that of William Duff, is the On the Throttle podcast. Well, just released yesterday was episode 74. Talking about AJ Allmendinger's win at the Roval, as well talking about future races, different things that could change in NASCAR. Go check out the On the Throttle podcast today if you need to listen to a podcast and help you through your daily adventures. Well, Trevor, sponsors out of the way, we're about to get closer to the halfway zone. What is something that you've noticed so far with this 3-wide racing that's kind of shocking, or has been what you've expected so far here tonight?
I think the most shocking thing is the fact that we've been 3 wide essentially from about lap 4 to now. I kind of figured these guys would run 2x2 for a majority of the race toward the end, but hey, what better way to learn what that outside line is going to do than run it basically from the drop of the green flag. I expect a little bit more calm, but at the same time, not surprised we're at Talladega. There's plenty of room to run 3 wide. So why not take advantage of it and see if you can gain a little bit of track position?
Once you also see 3 wide, you know that you're stuck. You can't really advance very often unless your lane starts to move. You can find a place to slot yourself in, and most of the time you're just stuck to the mercy of the lane that you choose to be in. And that's why we see some drivers decide, I'm not even going to be a part of this, and back out of this racing excursion. And most drivers, when they come to a super speedway, they like to have a spotter for them. For some, they have a virtual spotter that iRacing gives them, or they get a different map that gives them consistency spotter. Other drivers like to have a real-life person feeding them information of if they're 3 wide, 2 wide, who's closing in, what lane's having the best momentum. Usually we see in other leagues, there's about 3 or 4 drivers that have a real-life spotter. There's only one tonight. That's Brian McCann in the 8. He's the only driver with a real-life spotter assisting them here this evening.
Yeah, that probably makes things a lot easier for Brian McCann, getting that real-time information about what line's got to run, who's where, who looks like they're pushing well, who looks like they might be, one to avoid. But, I mean, that's the nice thing about iRacing in the sim. It gives you options to what fits you best. Do you want to have a real-life spotter? Do you just want to go with the default iRacing spotter that, at the super speedway races does a really good job, but sometimes can be a little bit slow telling you that you're clear? Or, do you go with an outside app like, one of those outside sim apps that can help you out? I mean, the options to these drivers is just plentiful for when it comes to spotting. I think we lost Sam there for a second. So back to 3 wide racing here. Alex Jones still in the lead. Ken Campbell in that middle line, and Christopher Norris still in that 3rd line all the way to the outside with the help of Ross Tatum in the 21 machine. Zach Hall in that 2nd position in that middle line as the freaking fast team is doing still nose to tail. And the 12 of Andrew Medlin really hasn't been able to get up there to Zach Hall in the 32, the 15 of Ken Campbell. He's been kind of stuck there on the bottom into the inside of Brian McCann since the drop of the green flag. So the 12 not able to get back up into that lead spot, but probably not in a bad position. As we touched on earlier, with the kind of the fuel strategy here, not leading the line, probably the best call for the 12 is pit stops probably expected here in the next 10 to maybe 15 laps, depending on where you're running, is when we expect to see some of these guys come down pit road and start their pit stops. So one of those things that we'll have to wait and see. And when that happens, you'll see everybody kind of drop down to that inside line, start working together. But right now, everybody just still 3 wide racing through 3 and 4, trying to shuffle and see where they can go. I think we got a message there. Sam lost his power, so he'll be back with us shortly once he gets his power back on. Robert Moyer might jump up in the booth with us to fill in for a quick second while we deal with some technical difficulties. But out front, still Ken Campbell in the 15. He's clearing that inside line, and sounds like Robert Moyer is ready to jump up and fill in for Sam for a second. So, Robert, you go from running the cameras now to getting to talk here a little bit.
That's right. Super Speedway Racing here at Talladega, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to fill in for Sam Dyer until he comes back here as he has a technical issue. But, yeah, to say what you're saying there, Trevor, that inside line's looking pretty good right now. You look like you can see right now if Christopher Norris wants to. You can tell, I think, the conversation in that Freaky Fast camp right now. You can see Ken Campbell is the lead there in the middle with Zach Hall, right behind him. But then you got Christopher Norris with Ross Tatum on the outside in that 3rd lane. And I think Zach and Ken want to go up and help, Christopher, but at the same time, they can't leave that middle lane because then that just opens it up for Brian McCann to take over that position. So Christopher has to figure out what he wants to do if this is the game plan to try to get, that team back together.
Yeah, I think he's wanted to jump down in front of the 30 or the 8 there of Brian McCann. Just hasn't been able to do so. Now he's got help from the 19 of Jacob Grant, who's jumped up to lead that outside line. And this could give that 38 enough momentum to maybe pull down in front of the 8 of McCann, who's left about a car's gap between him and the 32 of Zach Hall. So, I mean, if Norris can get that, that'd be great for that team to try to get them aligned for when green flag pit stops come around. But right now, just it's kind of been that ebb and flow with that outside line. They get up to the front, and then somebody drops out of the line, or they lose a little bit of momentum. They go back to battling for about 6th on back, and then come back to the front. So it's kind of been a cycle for these guys. But right now, Jacob Grant doing a great job in that outside line, leading them all the way up to battle for the lead with the 15 of Ken Campbell.
Well, that's what I was ready to say. It looks like we got that 19 said, you know what? Now we got another 1, 2, 3, 4 cars on that 3rd line. And now you can see the difference where now they are up to Ken Campbell besides Zach Hall. And now Christopher Norris might pass his whole teammates. And, he has a chance to get down. And can Ross Tatum give him a bump? Maybe help him get past his teammate Ken Campbell? And it doesn't look like it. It looks like that 3rd lane is going to stall out again as that 19 is, oh my goodness, I don't know where he wants to go.
Alex Jones being aggressive goes from the top all the way to the bottom now to block the middle lane. I mean, he's going to where he's got to go to block the run, stay out in front. And that's kind of one of the mentalities of super speedway racing is I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to get to the front. I'm going to stay in the front. That's what Alex Jones is trying to do here tonight. And he's done a great job, done it cleanly. But I mean, that's where you got to be careful. Making those big moves like that can cause issues. You saw how much it killed the momentum of that outside line. Went up and blocked the middle, now getting a big shove from the 15 to Ken Campbell. Christopher Norris able to jump in front of the 8 of Brian McCann. So now those 3 freaky fast cars all nose to tail with one another in that middle groove. It's going to be Andrew Medlin in the 12, the third car in line on the bottom. It's the lone man out from that team that's not lined up. And now Jacob Grant in the 19 really kind of backing up that middle line. It's allowed Alex Jones in the 94 of Joshua Altus to get clear. Here comes Altus through the middle, and this is where it could get dangerous, but everybody holds on to it.
Oh my goodness. Well, we're just a little bit halfway, past halfway of this race here, Trevor. And man, did it ever get exciting here, man. These guys all of a sudden, they said halfway and the action started picking up. You had Joshua Altus there making a big move. We had Grant going high, low, all over, not sure where he wants to be. And now these two are now up here in the middle leading the line and leading the race for first and second position here right now. Now, here the question comes is everybody went down and made a pit stop on lap 21, lap 22 there, Trevor. Joshua Altus pitted on lap 17, so he's a couple laps short on fuel than these guys are here. Now, I know you can save fuel, but he's still a couple laps short that these guys here are going to be able to run this big, the lead pack. So he's going to have to make a decision to get down in that low line to make his pit stop. You don't want to be stuck up on the high side because he could run out of fuel.
Yeah, it's going to be the interesting part for Altus is when does he have to make that pit stop? He spent a lot of time running behind the 45 of Alex Jones, so able to save a little bit of fuel. Might kind of be on a similar pit lap as the 45, maybe the 15 of Ken Campbell, the guys that were leading their respective lines, but definitely going to be 1 or 2 laps shorter than the rest of the field with that kind of off strategy that he had to pull. And being up here in the front, leading the pack, not going to help him with that fuel mileage at all either. The same with the 19 of Jacob Grant was on that same strategy as well. So we'll have to wait and see when those two decide to make their pit stops. And here goes the 19 getting shuffled out by the 15 of Ken Campbell, as Campbell's had enough of Jacob Grant leading that outside line with the help of Zach Hall. And here comes the 3 of Ryan Lynch.
Ryan Lynch is now going to try to duck his way into this battle here too, but just talking about looking at pit stops and everything, we had Tyler up there for the Texas teammates looking making a good run here as Thomas is up here. But the thing here with this is Trevor is also we didn't talk about the back half, the guys we talked to them, Tony Brent and all them guys, the Texas Texas Speed team. When do they start making their run? When do they start making their push? After the second pit stop, I would imagine they're going to try to link up and start working their way up through the field. So, but they've been riding into the back half of the field here basically all night.
Yeah, you look back all the way back there, 27th on back, you see Travis Dart, our pole sitter. He's all the way back there. Doug Pierce is in 28th. And then you've got the 3 Texas Speed cars, Tony Brent, David McConnell, Jonathan Burt, who we talked to at the beginning of the race, all the way down there in 29th, 30th, and 31st. About 3 seconds off this lead pack. So, I mean, just riding around in the back, biding their time. And I would think that after that pit stop, after a green flag pit stop, you'll start to see those guys march their way forward, try to link back up with this lead pack. But right now, doing what they wanted to do, avoid any chaos in front that we almost saw a couple laps ago. But the issue, Robert, they're 3 seconds off the lead draft, and if they have a slow pit stop or get separated, that could really hurt that team in terms of trying to get back up to this lead pack.
Well, let's hope maybe they got some allies that are back there going to be able to help them. You know what I mean? Go in and have a nice form pack, come in and make a pit stop. But you are correct. We are on lap 50 of 81 here now, and the race is looking pretty good right now. We got 2x2, three wide every once in a while. The race has been pretty clean for a super speedway race here at Talladega. So the question comes down to is them guys are going to have to make a decision. Start cutting that gap, 3 second gap down to get closer to the front pack before they make that pit stop, or get a a whole bunch of cars to be able to come in and help them, hopefully leap bound these lead lap cars here. But right now it looks like it was heating up there for a little bit, and now it's all settling back down as we got Ken Campbell, Zach Hall out here leading the way. We got Ryan Lynch looking pretty good in that number 3 machine here. I haven't talked much about him. He's up here running in second, third, fourth, in that area. And then we still got Will still looking really good in that number 1 car that needs a solid finish this season. And Will Bustler is a fast vehicle. He's a fast guy, but he just hasn't had the finishes all season there, Trevor. So he's going to have to figure it out here, coming to the end of the season and start getting that team flipped around here before the season ends.
Yeah, Will Bustler, one of those drivers that week in, week out, pretty quick. Just hasn't, like you said, had the finishes that he's wanted to get. Does come in tonight 8th in points though, so having a really good points for himself. But you can see there from Robert's reaction, some close racing. Jacob Grant down pit road for the 19 machine, and this could be about when that pit window starts to happen. 30 laps to go in the race, and this could put these guys right on the verge of making it to the end.
Yeah, well, that's it. 30 laps to go here, and we just were talking about it. When do they make a pit stop? And they came down and made a pit stop together, and that would be Joshua Alsos and Jacob Grant. The number 94 and the number 19 are making their pit stop. So now the question is, when does this lead pack start bailing off? When does cars start bailing off here within the next 10 laps here? I would imagine these guys are going to be pitting around lap 60, somewhere around there. And or how about lap 51? And my goodness, hang on.
Here comes the pack. You can see the tire smoke from everybody. There's Ryan Lynch in the grass. He's spinning out. That's a huge mistake from the 3. Also a mistake from the 19 of Jacob Grant as he's left the server after I believe another speeding penalty for the 19.
Man.
So that leaves the 94 without his teammate. Ryan Lynch is going to lose a lot of time, as I believe he's probably got a black flag that he's going to have to deal with for the unsafe pit entry. But I mean, that's part of making these pit stops. You come down as a pack of 10, 20 or 10 to 15 cars, you have issues like that. And for Ryan Lynch, it's going to cost him a lot of time as we expect to see the second pack start to get ready for their pit stops this time.
Well, also that could hurt Joshua Altus too, wouldn't it? I mean, he came down with Jacob Grant. Now it did planned out, but we also had that stage caution, so that all worked out for Joshua not to lose any ground. But now he's out there all by himself with anybody to help. I mean, one car's better than no cars when it comes to Talladega.
Yeah, he's going to have to see if he can fall in line, catch maybe some draft help. Just came out of turn number 2, I believe, behind the first group of cars that made their pit stop. So he's going to try desperately to catch up to the 12 Vander Medlin and hang on to that draft, or see if he can get caught up in the next group of cars when they come off of pit road. Is a couple of drivers leaving. Ryan Lynch just now leaving his box. Brian McCann on pit road with the 10 of Jay Becker. But expecting more cars down pit road this time. Maybe Ross Tatum, Will Bustler, and these guys working their way down pit road. We'll have to wait and see if our leaders come down pit road. Looks like they're going to stay out for another lap or so. But here comes the 5 of John Dart, along with Travis Dart and a couple other more drivers.
It's interesting that I'm watching Thomas there with the Texas Speed out here, not running or not being on the strategy with his other teammates. I'm sure that conference before the race started there, Trevor, they're probably like, okay, guys, here's the game plan. We're going to do this and do that. And Tyler Thomas said, you're going to do what?
Yeah, I mean, that happens sometimes is, you kind of have a different mindset going into a race than what your team does. But, it doesn't hurt to get up there and maybe feeding information to his team about what's it like up front. Is the 3 of the Texas Speed cars all came down pit road. Jonathan Burt, Tony Brent, David McConnell, they were all down pit road this time by. Tyler Thomas up there in the 11 with Ross Tatum, Will Bustler, looks like Steve Bustler, Christopher Wade, I believe that's the 93 of Melton, also up there in the front of the field. Still yet to make their pit stop as they're really stretching it on this run. Yeah,
they're stretching it out, and this could all play out. Kinda, maybe. I don't know. Running it like this, staying out, banking on the yellow, really right now doesn't mean nothing much because the tire wear is not that crucial. I mean, it is, but it's not. So staying out like this, track position, I guess. I guess that, would be the thing, the only thing out of this, staying out this long there, Trevor.
See them get around Curtis Valechka, then a 27 of Peter Dillon there as those cars weren't able to get bunched up together. You see the 3 Texas Speed cars right there ahead of them, but this should be the time that Ross Tatum, Will Bustler,
Ross, hang on
Thomas
to it.
Tatum in the grass hangs on to it. Great save there. Christopher Wade, Steve Bustler, William Duff, or the 93 of Melton, all down pit road for what should be their final pit stop. And this should give these guys enough fuel. If we do have a green-white checkered or 2 green-white checkers, this should put them into that window to be able to make it, not have to come down and make a pit stop there. So probably why they ran long. This is going to hand the lead over to Zach Hall. The 15 to Ken Campbell there. You see the 17 to Chris Ditz. We haven't talked about him at all tonight as he's leading that third groove, and Ross Tatum having to serve a penalty for that unsafe pit entry. That 21 machine going to fall out of this draft and now going to need a caution for himself, and we'll have to see where the rest of that group comes out of pit road as they leave pit road, and here comes the pack into turn number 1.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Ross Tatum on that last pit stop, he was sliding, and unfortunately he caught the commitment cone, and that is going to flag him for that. But yeah, now we're back up here at the lead. We got John Dart looking on the inside here. So, man, side by side drafting, and now we got we have a yellow. Oh no, Andrew Medlin's involved.
Medlin's involved. Brandon Colley's involved. I think the caution was already out, Robert, before that wreck happened. And not sure what that was for, but then contact with Medlin, Sam Siegel, Jay Becker, Brandon Colley gets caught up in it. The 45 of Alex Jones gets a little bit of damage from that. But the original caution behind this pack, and then as they were trying to check up, more carnage ensued.
Yeah, well, let's go back on the replay here. Let's see if we can try to catch. I think we can catch the first yellow, or the original yellow, why it came out. Maybe we'll have to see here as this is oh yeah, he spun it on exit coming out of pit road. That's gonna throw the yellow. Okay, so we got that part. Now the problem is that what happened to Brandon Colley and all of these guys here. So let's see. We'll go back here again, and we're gonna see Bustler, but we'll hop up here to Colley as the yellow is gonna fly here. Now we're gonna see what's gonna happen. Looks like everybody's starting to check up, and it looks like. Who was that? The 55. Okay, so we can go to Sam Siegel here, Trevor, and see exactly what happened here now. Right here, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see here. You can see it right here.
Up a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like Sam Siegel came up into Andrew Medlin, unfortunately, and Becker was there, and then Sam Siegel is going to slide back down and just take the rear end off of Brandon Colley. And unfortunately, you know what? That's going to hurt because them two vehicles, the 99 and the 12, they were fighting for a battle, for playoff points and to make it, to the next round if they could have got that win and locked themselves in. So that could hurt.
Yeah, Medlin coming into the night, 17 points behind Chris Ditz. Brandon Colley, 34 points out from the cutoff line. Thankfully for Colley, though, I don't see a lot of front-end damage on that 99 machine, maybe a little bit of rear end damage. It looked like the rear bumper, kind of a visual thing with the new damage model. It's reattached to the car. So it's going to be a front end damage. Medlin, however, going to deal with left and right side damage. He got kind of sandwiched into the wall. So that's going to really hurt the 12 machine, but it's going to save drivers like Ross Tatum, Ryan Lynch, guys that had, pit road issues. They're going to be able to stay on the lead lap or get the lucky dog, get back on the lead lap. And this should put everybody in a window to make it to the end now and kind of really change up the orders. I believe it's going to be the 93 of Melton who's going to be the new race leader over that of Will Bustler and Tyler Thomas, as they were able to hang on, being that last group of cars that made their pit stops. They were able to hang on and stay in front of the pack when that caution came out.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Well, we'll see what Chris can do here, ladies and gentlemen, as we were under our second caution here tonight. So with that being said, we are going to step away for a quick commercial break, and we will be back after this quick word from our sponsors here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting and Full Send Racing League.
5 wide behind for fifth.
Oh my, the 5 wide here, this ain't gonna work. They make it last, bumping and banging to the end. They're beating banging for the lead. Sora still with the shot here, coming off a 4. That's it.
It's
Bottom line, here it comes.
Oh, no, Carter gets wrecked. It's going to be that Nick Crawford. The 74 gets through somehow, and they just completely demolish one another. Trinity driving down low, drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes. Cedric Hunter. He does it. He steals it.
But he somehow drove it into the corner to wreck him.
Oh, they wrecked! They wrecked each other! The top two bounced into one another, just too much of side drifting off of, and they gotta be careful. Oh no, the 4 demolishes in the 28. Well, guess who's back? It is the Full Send Racing Series, race number 13. It's the Campbell Racing 215 at Talladega. My power went out for a quick second. Huge shout out to Rob Moyer Jr., who did quick double duty of commentating and producing. And Trevor, we're in the no man's zone. With that caution that just came out, it has changed up the game. And now it's time for these drivers to go absolute chaos on who's going to get the win here tonight.
Yeah, 20 laps to go. The window's gone for riding in the back. Now it's time to start making your moves, working your way forward. We got to spin in the back. Brandon Cawley, the 27. Peter Dillon, another car hard involved in turn number 3. And more damage to the 99 of Brandon Cawley as his night continues to go downhill.
And it looked to be just a bad bump. Jay Beckert into Peter Dillon and other drivers collected into the mess. As the field was just hoping, hey, maybe we could get through this madness, and just wasn't the case. 20 now laps to go, and it's going to be our third caution of the day. Second on-track incident to bring out a yellow. Not the quote-unquote big one, but an incident big enough to collect a handful of drivers to get major damage. Harrison Gerwitz, as well as Peter Dillon, could have required damage for the both of them as they slammed into one another into the outside wall. Cawley, though, Once again, caught up in the mess, but not that much damage visually that we could see.
Yeah, I mean, this is the second time that the 99's been involved in something. He got clipped by Sam Siegel on the first caution that we saw a couple laps ago. This time, I think, again, just kind of clipped by the 27 to Peter Dillon. And for the 99, who needs a good points night, I mean, 30 points outside of the playoff cut line. That 99 machine looking relatively clean on the right side there. A little bit of scuff marks, but it could have been a whole lot worse for him, Sam, being involved in those two incidents.
It absolutely could have, and another driver also caught up late in the incident was Ross Tatum, who got clipped, but it looks like it was just to his rear quarter panel and not enough damage for him to be worrying about either, as some drivers might be thinking, hey, coming to pit road, get some tires. Others thinking about staying up front. Christopher Melton, I've always feels like at some point at the race, we always see him march into the top 15, top 10, now leading here at Talladega with the timing of that second caution. It's allowed this 93 to be in a spot where he's got to be careful. That last restart, he jumped ahead of everyone else pretty quickly, almost was a complete sitting duck. We'll see if the 93 can learn from that mistake that he made on this previous restart.
Yeah, one of the things that you don't think about a lot, you at other tracks, you want to get the best restart you possibly can through the restart zone, jump out in front and not have to worry about battling. But here at the super speedways, you want to go with the car that's right behind you. You want to go at about the same time so you can have that push and build your momentum up as quickly as you can. And right there, Melton went a little bit too quickly for the car that was behind him, jumped out in front, and like you said, was a sitting duck. So maybe he learns from that and can hang on. But was in that last pack of cars to pit. They were able to stay out in front of the leaders when that caution came out, give him this great track position. And Sam, I mean, that's where you want to be. You want to be up front as the laps wind down and as the craziness ramps up.
The craziness, we are expecting it to ramp up even more than what we just saw to bring out this most recent yellow of drivers expected to bounce it 3 wide almost immediately. And with it being less than 20 laps to go, there's no calm waiting sense. You're not racing for bonus points to be inside of just the top 10. This is now all about the win. And there's a couple of drivers where if they get a win, this could change their whole entire season. I mean, Christopher Melton's one of them. If he could find himself in a victory lane and runs one of the next 2 races after tonight, runs the next 2 races after tonight, he'll find himself in the playoffs. There are a few other drivers that are in the same scenario. But Tyler Thomas, Will Bustler, if they find themselves getting a win, they're battling for a chance to go for a championship. Will Bustler, he's already inside of our top 12. He's currently in 9th, but look at other drivers that are outside looking in. Christopher Wade is one of them, and certainly a game-changing night this race could turn into.
Yeah, it really could. I mean, you look down through there. Melton's run 11 races. Jacob Grant's already had his issues. He's done for the night. Christopher Wade would have to run the next 2 races if he was able to get a win to lock himself in there. And then Ryan Lynch, who's been up front, he had some pit road issues, but I believe back on the lead lap for himself. Brian Wilson's there. I mean, if one of these guys outside our top 12 can get a win, I mean, this will really shake up the standings. Is right now John Dart, Chris Stitz only separated by 1 point for 11th and 12th. So, I mean, if Edlin can maybe get back up there with the damaged race car and get a win, I mean, this could really shake things up going into the last 2 races.
It certainly could. Less than 20 laps to go in tonight's race. Thank you again for joining with us on your Tuesday night, watching the Full Send Racing Series on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me up in the booth is Trevor Earhart, as well as Robert Moyer Jr. running productions in the background. This race, only 3 cautions. 2 of them have been on-track incidents, and those 2 incidences have just happened recently. The first one in the middle of green flag pit stops. The second one, drivers just getting a little bit too antsy on bumping one another off the exit of the corner. And we're in that point where I think those bad bumps could equate to a lot more messes moving forward. And also watch out for the tri-oval. It's been a tricky spot for a lot of drivers during this race. It getting very much out of control after a bad bump. And if someone gets a little bit too aggressive and gives even a worse bump, I'd see the big one happen of drivers getting in trouble just on the front stretch.
Yeah, another one of those spots that, the car really unloads on you through the tri-oval. So a spot that these guys are really going to have to worry about. We've seen three wide racing from the start, and I expect to see it, pretty quickly here after the green flag as guys get to try to get their spots, that they want. And, we didn't see a lot of side drafting saying when we were 3 wide the first time. I expect a lot of side drafting this time if we get to 3 wide racing as the laps are winding down.
where are you going to give, or can you just take throughout the night? It has been a lot of, patience in some areas. I think at this point, the patience might have just ran out. Pace car about to pull off into pit road, and we get ready to go back to green flag racing with 17 laps to go here at Talladega for the Campbell Racing 215. This is only race number 13 of the season. We got 2 more after tonight that the drivers are excited for as we head to Las Vegas and Richmond to finish out the regular season before we take Halloween off and we're set up for the playoffs. As green flag is out, Christopher Melton, great launch for himself. Tyler Thomas trying to catch up for the 11, but the outside lane looking a lot more solidified at this point. But we'll see if those bottom 2 drivers can make this work as they can go through the center of 1 and 2.
Yeah, Tyler Thomas got to the rear bumper of the 93 of Melton a little bit quicker than he did the last time, but I don't think they're going to have the momentum that the one of Will Bustler, the 53 of Christopher Wade, they're going to have off the top side. They got the help from the 17 of Chris Ditz. You can just see, again, Melton jumping too quickly there, and actually Tyler Thomas going to take him 3 wide down the back straightaway. He's not going to waste any time to get by that 93 machinist. He's already clear and now falls in line behind the 53 of Christopher Wade.
Brian McCann going to be sent up to that 3rd lane as Chris Stitz is trying to move forward. Same for Zach Hall. Stitz, one of those drivers that's inside of our top 12 and trying to stay there. Doesn't want to get bounced out and forced into a must-win scenario moving forward into Las Vegas and Richmond. Instead, let's solidify those points, and that's what the 17's doing, getting a huge push by the strongest team here tonight, that of Freaky Fast Racing, as Zach Hall, Ken Campbell, and Christopher Norris, the middle lane, back to who it's been all night long.
Yeah, don't look too far behind them. The 8 of Brian McCann there as well, but here comes the Texas speed guys. Tony Brent, the 4 of David McConnell, they've worked their way up into that middle groove. They're trying to get up there to help their teammate of the 11 of Tyler Thomas. It's no more waiting in the back. Jonathan Burt in the 6, not too far off those guys. He's going to go up to the outside line down the back straightaway as the team's starting to form here and the racing's starting to ramp up as we're 3 wide through 3.
3 wide at a moment, almost 4 wide, as Tyler Thomas has really been trying to search for an opening to slot in and get near his teammates, recognizing, hey, I'm in a spot where I might have to get a win. This could be my one race that puts me in the playoffs. Same for David McConnell, as well as Jonathan Burt. It has been just a fight to get up front. Burt not attached to his teammates, as well as we've seen the 4 and the 28. And, looking at the Texas Speed drivers, Tony Brent got the win at Daytona to start the season off in dramatic fashion as they came across the line in a photo finish. But this 28, he's still in a position where you might want to sweep the super speedways if he gets himself in the right position.
Hey, why not go for the sweep? Get yourself an extra point as well for the win, but kind of stuck right now as there goes the outside line with the run. The 8 of Brian McCann with the help from our pole sitter, Travis Starr. We haven't talked much about him since he dropped back to the back of the field early on in the race. He's worked his way back up. He's got help from the 9 of Brian Wilson and the 6 there of Jonathan Burt trying to close in, as well as Alex Jones, who led him, who was leading that inside line for a majority of it. And here goes Zach Hall. He's going to bounce up to the outside with his teammate Ken Campbell in front of the 8. They're going to leave Chris Stitz there in the middle.
Just splitting to the outside, saying, sorry, Stitz, we got to go. As Zach Hall, Ken Campbell going to make their move to the outside lane. And for both those drivers, they've already found themselves with a great positioning points-wise. They're now no longer worrying about, hey, we got to help a teammate out. Andrew Medlin's already so damaged, he's not a factor in this race. It's all about, hey, can we get a win and steal a position away from one of these drivers that's in a must-win scenario with these last couple races left. 14 laps to go, a little bit of shuffling in the middle of the pack. Zach Hall, Ken Campbell have a bit of a shimmy on the entry of turn 3, and it's still Stitz, Norris working the inside groove, and it's all pink for our first 3 drivers in the middle lane.
Yeah, don't count out that 38 of Christopher Norris, a sneaky good super speedway driver in that 38. He's going to now be the lead driver for Freaky Fast Racing as that top line's really died out now. He's going to be stuck behind the 17 of Chris Stitz. Will Bustler leading the inside line with help from Christopher Wade. But here goes the 11 of Tyler Thomas. He's going to jump up in front of Zach Hall now and try to lead that outside line as he leaves his 2 teammates of Tony Brent and David McConnell in the middle groove there to see if they can maybe start something here on the outside.
When we talk about Talladega, if you've got a running vehicle that's at full power, has great aerodynamics, you've got a chance to run well here tonight. there are over 26 drivers that are still eligible in a position that they can find themselves in a victory lane, being in this lead pack, being attached in some fashion to this lead group. There is a cluster of drivers that are completely off the pace because of all the damage they've been collecting throughout the night, but we are 3 wide for the lead. Christopher Norris, Tyler Thomas, Zach Hall, Ken Campbell rolling the top with Stitz in the middle, but deciding does he want to go to the inside lane, stay in the middle, looks like a hold back. That attacks his speed. And on the inside, Will Bustler, where does he go for the one machine as he's looking for some help? And it looks like Stitz will fall to him.
Yes, it's going to drop down in front of Will Bustler. That inside line lost a little bit of momentum, a big wiggle there from the 53 Christopher Wade. That's going to bunch up everybody as they stay off of one another, but everybody got really close there on the exit of turn number 2. And poor Chris Stitz, I mean, everybody's been behind him, pushed him, and then just left him. But now, all the way to the inside line, now it's going to be the middle groove led by Christopher Norris. He's out front with the 11 Tyler Thomas to his outside. Here comes Stitz back to the middle. Tony Brent helping that middle line with help from David McConnell and the 94 as well of Joshua Altus. And you can kind of see people hanging on to the back. Doug Pierce on the back of this group. And then not too far off of them, Sam, Curtis Valechka in the 44, Ryan McCann in the 8, Brandon Cawley, all kind of hanging off a little bit of this pack just in case something goes wrong.
I think they're feeling it. They know that something could go wrong very quickly up front. Just one bad bump and it could all go up in flames for a majority of this field. 11 laps to go, and it's Chris Stitz, Christopher Norris leading both of their lanes for themselves with a big wiggle off the exit of turn 2. This middle groove, there's not a lot of comfortability when you've looked throughout the night on drivers that have been stable compared to those that have looked very much unstable. Majority of those drivers have looked out of control. They're all stuffed in the middle of this pack.
Yeah, everybody just kind of, you saw at times the 94, Joshua Altus was kind of all over the place. He's up there in the middle. The Texas Speed guys, we haven't seen them up at the front of the field all night long, and now they're up here. So new players up at the front of the field that these guys have to deal with. 3 wide, almost 4 wide, beating and banging. Alex Jones kind of bouncing off of cars there in the middle groove. Everybody keeps it straight as the 94 jumps up in front of the 11 to try to lead that outside line. Tony Britt maybe thinking about going off to cover off the 94 machine. We'll have to wait and see as they come out of turn number 2 if there's going to be big enough room for him to jump up there. But Sam, big moments there throughout the field, and everybody able to keep it straight for now.
Keeping it straight for now, Christopher Norris. Loving the fact that he's got a fast vehicle behind him, but you just have that sense that Tony Brent's not going to stay in trusting and working with this 38. At some point, he's got to move and try to find a position to get the 38 out of this lead position and maybe swap hands, get the 4 up there as a lead driver. It's going to take a lot of hard work, but you got to make your move now with 10, soon to be 9 laps to go. You're running out of time, and every small move and adjustment you make now could be critical to see what position you get at the end of the night.
Yeah, you can't afford to lift now. You got to take every run that you can get, and that's what's going to lead to the potential of a big one. And everybody just holding their breath, hoping it doesn't happen, but knowing that it could happen in the back of their mind right now. 2 cars leading that outside line. It's the 94, the 11, more wiggling off the corner, more bouncing off of one another. Here comes the 3 of Ryan Lynch. He's going to try to close up to the 11 of Tyler Thomas. Thomas doing a great job shoving Joshua Altus, shoved him all the way out in front of the 38 now, but they're going to lose a little bit of momentum here through turn number 3. But here comes the 3 of Ryan Lynch. He's caught up now, 3 cars in that outside line.
Not getting concerned. Watch out for that 94 again. He's looked very much out of control when there's a bad bump to that rear end. With how aggressive Tyler Thomas has been to the rear bumper, that outside lane could be the catalyst of watching out where the madness may go. Through the tri-oval, drivers not given much space, but as much as they can. Off the exit, 8 laps to go here tonight as drivers having some movement on the outside. With Ryan Lynch joining, they are making some great moves on that 3rd lane. But this middle portion, you're just stuck 3 by 3 by 3, and they just have to wait and see where to go as lap traffic is going to be in front of them. Expect to stay on the apron gate, out of the way as the field. Here we go as they blast on by the slower vehicles.
Yeah, everybody you see there, the 77 to 12, everybody getting out of the way. You can see the shimmying though from the leaders. A little bit of lost momentum on that outside line though, as they had to check up for that as everybody kind of moving around. I actually think some of them got into the outside wall in the back straightaway. There was a lot of movement. This has allowed Stitz a little bit of breathing room with Will Bustler, but now that momentum's starting to rebuild as they come through the tri-oval across the line. Sam, this time going to be 7 laps to go. That outside line trying to rebuild that momentum.
Have to rebuild it, and I think there was a lot of miscommunication. Some drivers weren't sure if the lap cars would go to the apron or stay on the inside lane. They were trying to give as much space to go 4 wide if needed. Instead, Instead, they didn't need that much movement for themselves. One driver that's in the mix of all this, just trying to make a surprise run if possible. Watch out for the 39. Doug Pierce is still in the fight. Now, Doug, this is his last race of the season. Could the 39 come out with a spectacular run? He's only back at 19. There's not a lot of space for him to go, but what a storyline that could be for the 39 machine for a send-off race.
Yeah, very well could be a great send-off race for that 39 machine as he's hanging on. Now actually going to go up and join this outside line that's now got help from the 6 of Jonathan Burt, the 9 of Brian Wilson. Here comes the 39 of Doug Pierce. And the momentum building up here as Tyler Thomas pushes that 94 machine, now 3 wide for the lead, 3 wide all the way back to that of about 15th. Here comes the 24 of Trey Jackson now into the shot as Zach Hall, Ken Campbell have backed out a little bit with the 42 of Cole Sapetti. Curtis Volechka staying coming up to the inside line.
Tyler Thomas, he's sending it to the outside. Let's try 4 wide as Josh Waltz is going to be stuck in the middle. This is not going to look good as they're going to have to try to squeeze and make some room. There's the tap to the 4. Melton, others, and let the chaos reign as Melton comes back into the field. Caution flag is out, and you can see that one come from a mile away.
That's all it took. A shove to the 94 got him to the inside. The 11 saw the gap to go to the outside and ran out of space. Car contact made. The 3 of Ryan Lynch involved. The 39 of Doug Pierce I saw go spinning. Melton, who is having a great run tonight, gets spun around in it as well. And Sam, the first of what potentially could be a couple of big wrecks here at the end of this race.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. Like, when you saw them go 4 wide with some of those drivers, a lot of them were struggling just to hold their lane when they were 3 wide, had the space to work around one another. When you have to have perfection, being 4 wide entering your corner, you just had that sense it was not going to go swell. It didn't, went badly, bad bumps all around, and a big one, collecting a majority of the field. 3 drivers with required damage. Ryan Lynch, Curtis Volechka, and Steven Bustler going to be required to go to pit road because they have too much damage. Maybe terminal damage for some of those, as those that survived: Chris States, Christopher Norris, Will Bustler, Tony Brent, Christopher Way, Joshua Altis, Tyler Thomas, and everyone else inside of our top 10. But this just, it was one of those wrecks where drivers were trying to slow down, trying to make some, maneuvers, but just once you turn into a pinball, you're stuck to the mercy of gravity and also inertia and all the physics around.
Yeah, there's not much you can do when you're going 180 miles an hour. They start spinning in front of you. The brakes only do so much, and cars sliding down the racetrack, up the racetrack, it makes it hard to make a consensus move on where you want to go. So you just hit the brakes, hope you don't hit somebody in front of you, hope you don't get hit from somebody behind, and you can see all the chaos and carnage unfold there through 3 and 4.
So Ryan Lynch just sits and going to try to make his way into pit road, which he initially does get to at some point. But looking at this field and the drivers that are still in the fight, a couple that are in a win and you're in situation for the playoffs. Tyler Thomas still in the fight. Also, looking at Christopher Wade, he's in a position where if he can get into victory lane, notified it. He is a very good super speedway driver, but does he have allies that are really willing to work with him, or is it going to be Texas Speed that can figure out a way? Tony Brent, Tyler Thomas, as well as Jonathan Burt. Which one of those 3 could find themselves up front? We know Texas Speed is a chat favorite, and they are still in the fight going for this win.
Yeah, they've got a good chance to lost the 4 of David McConnell, but I don't think he's got a lot of damage. He's going to be further back in the field, and this should set us up for the first attempt at a green-white checkered, I believe. Sam, 3 attempts tonight. I believe this caution will put us in that window. So a potential for more, spots to be gained if we see, another wreck, because with 3 laps to go, it takes about a lap to get these cars up to speed. So not a lot of time for guys to gain ground. They're going to have to be aggressive from the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, we're still waiting for it to officially turn over. If the lights on the pace car go off this time, we will stay inside of regulation and go for a green-white checkered. If the lights stay on after they cross the line, then we will officially go into overtime. So we're kind of just waiting to see. I know super speedway tracks, there's not as many laps that are going to be ran. They try to make it a little bit of a faster turnaround because each pace lap is almost 2 minutes in length. So we'll wait and see what officially is given to these drivers. Again, if the pace car lights turn on, off, that is the indication of a 1 to go marker, and We are technically still inside of regulation time of our 81 laps that were expected to be ran here. As we go through the travel, I mean, this is crunch time for the drivers. If you're just joining us, we just had our 4th caution and the first official big one of the night. And it certainly was a massive one of drivers that were trying to go 4 wide. It just did not work out. As it looks to be, pace car lights are off. We're going to stay inside of regulation and a green-white checkered here, Trevor.
A natural attempt at the green-white checkered, so that means technically, Sam, we still got 3 attempts to use overtime if need be. We'll have to wait and see if that's going to be a thing, but it's going to be led here to the restart. Chris Stitz on the inside, Norris to the outside with Tony Brent behind that of Christopher Norris. Will Bustler's going to be behind that of Chris Stitz. Then you have Joshua Altus, Christopher Wade as well. I mean, kind of going to be interesting. Not a lot of teammate help in that top 6 positions. Then you got the 2 Texas Speed teammates there on the inside line. Alex Jones, kind of the wild card in that outside line. He's been quick all night with Brian Wilson. So, I mean, anything can happen here on this restart.
Yeah, Wilson's another one of those drivers at a win, and he's in. As we've lost Ryan Lynch tonight, he has officially called it a race for himself. But because we're inside of a regulation for this green-white checker, this is how the rules are going to work. If we get a yellow flag on this first lap, we will head into overtime, where we have 3 attempts if needed. And if we get our white flag and get the 1 to go marker, these drivers will race it out. It will not be a yellow after that point. It'll all be about who can cross the line first and get the win. For Chris Stitz, Christopher Norris, for Stitz, this is a crucial time for himself. He entered tonight 12th in points, was that cutoff driver, where he can find himself being bounced out of our top 12 if someone that is in a must-win scenario gets it done. He wants to make sure he can find himself in a victory lane, or he would prefer to see Brent, Norris, someone else that's already won this season to get in victory lane. That works as well for the 17. As the pace car pulls off, it's time to see, will we stay in regulation or head into overtime? It's here we go. It's the Campbell Racing 215 pace car into pit road. The long wait until you can get into the restart zone for the drivers. The Full Send Racing Series, race number 13 of the regular season, is back underway. Here we go, Trevor. Stitz, Norris, it's go time.
Stitz got a great jump along with the one of Will Bustler. Those two, really good launch for one another. They're locked nose to tail. Norris trying to get help from the 28 of Tony Brent, and then behind them, it's kind of all spread out from about 5th on back. They didn't get the greatest of restarts, so there's going to be a huge run coming from behind these guys, which could be where the flashpoint is when they get this run down the back straightaway. But everybody trying to figure out who they want to go with. Alex Jones trying to push the 94, the 11 of Tyler Thomas jumps up in front of them, still side by side for the lead with Christopher Wade there in the 3rd car on the inside line. But here comes the run down the back straightaway into 3.
A couple of drivers already bounced to that 3rd lane, but it's going to be 2 by 2 for our top 8 drivers. Zach Hull's going to be the lead one on the 3rd lane, but he's too far back. Needs a massive run if he's going to make it work. Tyler Thomas try to aim to go high, and there's no wreck being shown. We're going through the trial full. We don't need overtime. We'll stay in regulation as we cross the line. It's your next level racing white flag. This is it. Who's getting it done? As Stitz leads the way, but Brian Wilson, Zach Hall, plenty of others. We're down to just 6 drivers still racing, and we've got ourselves Christopher Wade, Will Bustler, Chris Stitz, a few drivers that need a win. Will Bustler goes high. Here we go, Trevor.
Down the back straightaway into turn number 3. It's Will Bustler, Chris Stitz side by side. Christopher Wade's going to go to the outside. Here comes Norris, the 28 of Tony Brent, the Daytona winner. Norris all the way below the yellow line. Sam, what a move from the 38. He gets into the 17. They're 3 wide through 3.
3 wide through 3. Will Bustler's getting a massive push for himself to Christopher Wade. The 1 has the push, has the shove. The momentum given to the 1 machine might be enough, but he gets a bad tap. The 1 of Will Bustler has the spacing. Will he get hooked? He won't. Will Bustler wins and locks himself for the playoffs.
Whew. What a finish there. A 5-car run to the end. And Will Bustler hangs on, gets the win, locks himself in to the playoffs. Came in, I believe, that at 8th or 9th in the playoffs, but gets the much-needed win. Norris with a just kamikaze move into 3, went all the way onto the apron as there is no yellow line rule, and somehow didn't wreck the field. He's going to come home in 5th, but Sam, another great finish at a super speedway.
Yeah, I mean, out of everyone there, it was only Christopher Wade that could have won and locked himself in. That was outside of the top 12. But this is with a wreck that went through 1 and 2. That these drivers never even had a chance. Zach Hall sent up into the grandstands, practically into the fence, and never even had a chance to move on. Other drivers kept piling in. And it was just a simple 5-horse race at the end. Oh, it looked like it was going to be 6 drivers running it. But for that, Doug Pierce, he just didn't have the momentum or the speed to keep up with the 6 drivers. As Zach finally hits the slowdown period where his car slides off the wall. And, whew, Bustler almost ran into him there. And a simple glide for the 32.
Yeah, I think we call that suboptimal there, Sam. Not the fastest way around the track on your side, but Zach safely back on all 4 tires there at the end, and I think that's where he kind of left it for the remainder of this race. But what a finish there! As you can see down the back straightaway, the top 5 kind of just all by themselves. Doug Pierce not able to be close enough to get there, but here's this move by Norris, though. I mean, watch this. From the middle of the racetrack, and I mean, he just drives it all the way to the apron, and how he doesn't clean out Stitz and Wade when he comes back on the racetrack is just a miracle. But what a run that was through 3 and 4 for those guys.
I'll be honest, that move maybe he thought was going to help him out. I think it hurt him more than anything. I think I understood what he was going for. He was hoping that he was going to get below the 17 blocked, and it hurt him. But man, Will Bustler gets clear. And I thought for a moment maybe he was going to get hooked and lose the win, but instead the 1 gets it done. And Christopher Wade just takes a good point stay for the 53, as that grouping of drivers will get themselves a great finish here at Talladega. And Will Bustler finally gets into victory lane. It took him a while, but he gets it done for season 5 for himself. Well, for us up at the booth, we will step away. When we come back, it's the post-race show. We'll talk to our top 3, Will Bustler, Christopher Wade, Chris Ditz, and the Spotlight driver right after this. ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show on Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the Full Send Racing Series, Race 13. The Campbell Racing 215 was a stellar one. We didn't need overtime. We did it all in regulation, but it was a fantastic surge to the end, and a driver that was searching for a win gets it, doesn't have to worry about points, even though he was pretty solidified heading into tonight's race. We have Will Bustler with us in the one machine. Will, congratulations on your win. Man, how are you feeling after this one?
Wow. Thanks. That's a relief. They always say, you never know when you're going to win the next one. So definitely had my doubts. It's been a long season. Started strong early, and just kind of the last few weeks just kind of tailed off. But I figured that this was probably my best chance to get into the playoffs. So I'm hopefully going to be able to carry that momentum getting into the playoffs and hopefully make some noise.
I mean, Will, what is the plan going forward? You got Vegas and Richmond next before we get to the playoffs. I mean, so what's your goal for the next 2 weeks to get yourself prepared for the first race at Charlotte when we get to the playoffs?
I think I just got to push a little bit harder early on. First part of the season, I haven't really pushed it probably as hard as I should have to pick up the stage points. That kind of puts me in a hard spot. I think it was 8th, 9th, 10th in points, I think. So I think just kind of being a little bit more aggressive, before the stage, and hopefully kind of, build up some points getting into the playoffs, and hopefully that'll kind of work out in my favor. So I think just overall just being a little more aggressive.
I mean, Will, this was certainly a race where we saw some ups and downs of some strong contenders, caught up in the big one late. Others were surging back and forth. What was your mentality going throughout the night, trying to get through this mess with your team and place yourself in this position to go for the win?
Yeah, I mean, early on, I told myself, I was like, I need a win, so I wasn't gonna fall to the back. I feel like that's where a lot of the trouble occurs. So I told myself, I'm just gonna ride up front. If something happens up front, something happens up front. So like I said, I think just being a little more aggressive kind of paid off here. Wade did a phenomenal job there at the end just to kind of navigate where we should go. We had a couple really bad runs against us. We kind of worked our way around it, and he was able to push. And I can't thank him enough. So hell of a teammate right there.
Well, Will, congratulations once again on this win, and now the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. First, I have to thank my wife, Heather. She puts up with me with all of this that goes on during the week with racing. So thank you to her. Thank you to all the sponsors, Next Level Racing, Reg Customs, FR Graphics, Impacts and Designs, On the Throttle. Thanks to my team, Ross. He had a little bit of unfortunate luck. Wade again, my brother Steve. JW Woods, he isn't with us here tonight, but shout out to him. Everybody, thanks for watching. We appreciate you guys do a heck of a job in the broadcast booth, and that's really it.
Well, it helps when you give us a show like that. Congratulations on this win. Enjoy it, and good luck next week.
Thanks, fellas.
Well, that's going to be from Victory Lane with Will Bustler as we head down to second place. Christopher Wade, I said at the top of the broadcast, he's a driver to always watch out at these super speedways. Comes away second. Wade, I mean, you got it done in second place. You pushed the one to Victory Lane. Man, how are you feeling after your performance here tonight?
I'm always feeling great to help a good old teammate out. I really needed to win, though. It would have been nice if I told him if he would have braked at the end for me, But nah, it's all good. It's helping a teammate is always considered a win in my book. So,
well, I mean, Chris, you got 2 more chances to win and get into the playoffs. Richmond or Vegas and Richmond. I mean, how are you feeling about these next 2 races and then the rest of the schedule going forward once we get into the playoffs?
I'm actually going on vacation next week, so I really needed to win here, but it's all good. And then Richmond, I do all right there sometimes, but not really my track on short tracks like that.
Well, still, Chris, a great performance that you had here tonight. Before we officially let you go, though, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast, as always. I want to thank AC Two Skins. He's the man. Storm Motorsports and my girlfriend Chelsea and Ken Campbell. He's the man as well, and all my teammates, Will, Stephen, and Ross, and I want to thank and Ken's wife Casey. Got to give her a shout out, or she'll beat me up, and his whole family, everyone. He's such an awesome guy.
Well, that will be the 53 machine of Christopher Wade. Congratulations on second place. Enjoy vacation, and good luck when you come back for Richmond.
Thank you, guys.
Well, as from second place, we go down to third. Driver who thought, hey, maybe the win was in his grasp, but instead he had to hold back a kamikaze move by the 38. We've got Chris Stitz with us. Chris, you come away third, but at one moment we thought maybe you were done entering turn 3. What was going through your mind there late in that race, and was there anything else you could have gone for that win?
Oh man, that was a hell of a last couple laps there. I really wish I could have done a couple things different, but at the end of the day, it's Talladega. What can you expect? You just got to make the moves you make in the moment and hope it works out for you.
I mean, Stitz, a great run for yourself. With the top 3, you came in 17 points to the good of the cutoff line with 2 races to go. Get yourself a third place finish. I mean, how are you feeling about the next 2 weeks before we get to the playoffs?
I'm feeling pretty good. I think getting the top 3 here tonight was huge, much needed, because I mean anything can go unexpected, especially with a new winner this week being Will. Looking pretty good for Vegas. Richmond, I tend to struggle out a little bit, but I'm definitely gonna give it my all there and hopefully just slide in on points if I can't get that win.
Well, Chris, still a great performance for yourself, a top 3. Congratulations on that. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, thank you guys. First of all, I'd like to thank the sponsor, Frostfire Insulation, and shout out to Cole Sacchetti and One to Go Graphics for making that scheme for me. And shout out to the league, Full Send Racing. Love racing with these guys every night. Shout out to Doug, who's soon to have back surgery. Best wishes to him. And shout out to you guys up in the booth, all the work you guys do. Another one, I feel like I'm saying it every week now. Can't wait to go back and watch this one. And last but not least, thank you to Travis and John, the people who run this league. It's been fantastic running with them.
Well, if you're saying that a lot, it means you're being consistent. Love to see it, Chris. Congratulations on third, and hopefully this continues into next week.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
You too. As we move from third place, we go to our spotlight driver. We talked about how it's going to be his farewell race here tonight. Thought maybe he could sneak away with the win. Instead, he'll take a top 10. We got Doug Pierce with us. Doug, it was sad to see that you're not going to be able to continue on racing in this season. But man, how are you feeling after the performance that you just had here this evening? Oh, it looks like we've actually lost Doug there. We'll see if we can bring him back. Doug Pierce, it's Sam and Trevor up at the booth. You got us?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going good. Well, Doug, we're excited that we were able to bring you up. I know this was kind of your farewell race of the season, and you come away with a top 10 finish. Man, how are you feeling after this performance that you just had here tonight?
Kind of drained, ready to get up and walk around, but really excited. Had a good race. These are a great group of guys. You guys are an outstanding bunch of announcers. It's fun to hang out with y'all. It's fun to listen to the replays after. Just a great way to end my early season here again.
I mean, Doug, we know you're going to be out for the rest of the season, but I mean, what's going to be your goal going into next season and then on tonight? I mean, was there anything else you could have done to maybe get up there to those guys, or after the wreck, were you kind of just a sitting duck?
Man, that took my momentum off, and at that point, the last lap, I was hoping when they were 3 wide, they'd all wash up into the corner. Went out of 4, and I would have been in prime spot to take the win. But just thankful with all that tight racing, didn't get caught up in anything, and put myself in a spot where I could get a good finish. And that's just about what I was looking for tonight. Finish a race for once, not get took out by somebody. So that seems to have been my season so far.
Well, mission successful. Congratulations, Doug, on a top 10 finish for yourself in 6th. Before we officially let you go, any final thoughts or send-offs you want to say before we let you go here?
Man, again, I'd just like to thank all you guys, all you racers, Steve up in the booth, all our great sponsors, Next Level, and the guys for giving me this great rig to sit and race in every week. You guys up in the booth, it's a great show. It's fun racing. Just like to be with these guys. Really going to miss them while I'm sitting out with surgery. Hopefully everything goes well with surgery number 29 here, and I'll be able to get back sometime next season. So we'll see. Got our fingers crossed.
Hey, Doug, we're praying for you that this one is your last and that you will be healed and ready for next season. We're going to miss you. We hope for the best, and hope that you'll be back for next season or whenever you do come back, that you're ready for more racing action, Doug.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate you.
Well, that is going to be the 39 machine of Doug Pierce. We're going to miss him, but he will be hopefully being back. I know we expected to have Brandon Pierce taking over the 39 machine from here on out throughout the season. So we'll at least have one of the Pierce out there on track. But what a run, what a race at the end. You saw it on the slow-mo. Will Butler gets the win after the chaos exiting at a turn number 2. The one machine gets it done with Christopher Wade in second, Chris Stitz in third, Tony Brett fourth, Christopher Norris in fifth, Doug Pierce taking away 6th position, John Dart 7th, Brandon Colley, what a recovery run, caught up in multiple different yellow and Rex, it's 8th, Dan McConnell with one of his best finishes of the season in 9th, 10th, goes to Trey Jackson filling in for that of Cole Sacchetti, and I mean, not Sacchetti, but that of Sarton, excuse me, and I gotta say, Trevor, certainly a bizarre way for the race to end, as a lot of drivers did not finish where they thought they were going to.
No, I mean, you look down through the field. How about William Duff, though, down there in 16th? He had a pit road incident that probably should have taken him out of the race, but with all the carnage and chaos, he's going to come home with a top U20 finish. Christopher Melton, who was up there leading at one point, comes away 17th. Curtis Valechko with a great run for himself in 18th. You further on down the field, Alex Jones, who led a little bit early on down there in 21st. Zach Hall, we saw with the wall ride through 1 and 2 after getting caught up in the big one late down there in 23rd. His teammate Ken Campbell in 25th. And then further on down, I mean, Andrew Medlin, who came in tonight on the outside looking in, needed a good run for himself, got the stage win, but unfortunately caught up in an incident after the green flag pit stop's going to be all the way down there in 27th, along with Ross Tatum. Ryan Lynch also involved, and then Jacob Grant, probably the driver who was most aggressive all night, Sam, in terms of getting up through the field and getting onto pit road, with 2 pit road speeding penalties. Unfortunately takes him out of the race, and he'll finish all the way down there in dead last in 32nd.
Yeah, I mean, a rough run for the 19 machine, and let's see, called it a night. But the rest of the field, we had the one major big one to bring out a caution, then the second one during the white flag, and Will Butler finds himself in victory lane in the Full Send Racing Series. Congratulations to that one machine. As if you'd like to see even more great racing action like you just saw here tonight, we got you covered tomorrow night. WSSR in the Roasted Gems Cup Series. Get prepared as they take the Gen 4 cars to Richmond. And if you enjoyed Super Speedway racing at Talladega, well, Stars and Stripes on Thursday night as well has you covered, as we're taking their Gen 4 cars to the same track that you just watched. I mean, I gotta say, Trevor, I think Thursday night I'm the most excited for, but short track racing for WSSR has been a tough pill for most of the season.
Yeah, the short track racing over there's been, interesting, but hey, we're back to Super Speedway racing on Thursday, and the Gen 4 cars put on a great show at the Super Speedway, so don't want to miss that one. Don't want to miss either one of those. I'll have to catch the replay of Wednesdays, but I'll tune in Thursday night to see what kind of show the guys over there at Stars and Stripes can put on for us at Talladega in those Gen 4 Cup cars.
You don't want to miss any of it. And then other racing action as we take the weekend off. Monday night, don't want to miss the fact that it is the conclusion of the round of 8 to see who will be the 4 drivers racing for a championship for the ISRC Truck Series. John Forbes is already locked in. Who's taking the 3 final spots? Gonna check in on Monday night before we swap right back here next Tuesday for the Full Send Racing Series. These Xfinity cars head to Las Vegas. Pack racing in that of the mile and a half courses is always a pleasure to watch for this crew. And then Richmond week after that, and the regular season's done. We got our 12 drivers that are set. It's crazy to think that the season is almost over, or I should say the regular season's almost over. It's time for the playoffs very shortly here on Tuesday night.
Yeah, 2 weeks to go before we get to the playoffs and an off week, and then we're playoff racing at Charlotte. Sam, the season's winding down, and these next 2 races, Las Vegas and Richmond, could see a lot of wild action as drivers on the outside looking in need to get those wins, and we could see some interesting strategy calls, some aggressive driving from those guys. So definitely don't want to miss those next 2 races coming up.
Absolutely not. But for tonight, thank you so much to you, the audience, joining with us as you got to see the Campbell Racing 215 won by Will Bustler in the one machine. As for us up in the booth, for myself, Sam Dyer, Trevor Earhart, Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for watching and enjoying. Remember to hit that subscribe button and the like button, and as well share. Comment, what was your favorite moment of the race? As we find ourselves calling it a night, as tomorrow, again, we're seeing the WSSR head the Gen 4s to Richmond. Who will survive? We have to find out on our next Freaky Fast broadcast.